We're live.
Yes. Yes. Welcome in. It's the Tim McKernan Show. Timothy Michael McKernan, Jackson Bennett Burkett podcast brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies, Seth Goldcamp, Design Air Heating and Cooling, Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, Ryan Seiberg, Peter Munganast at Munganast St. Louis Acura, Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Hey, Jackson, you're off camera.
Yeah, I was getting your camera.
Oh, okay. I see. Now I can see your shoulder. There it is.
Now we're cooking.
Now a little bit of a delay. Toy Maltese Mafia family is waiting for us.
Okay.
In the YouTube chat. Good afternoon. How are we doing today? Thank you, Toy Maltese Mafia family. We're wonderful. Thank you for joining the podcast. You've tweeted this out?
Uh-huh.
So that means I can type in cute boys.
Cute boys. Yeah, there's a lot of options in that.
And the GIF. And
we can't go with a topless guy.
Let's see what I got here. Cute boys GIF. I got some good ones here. Your questions are always welcome. You can post them in the YouTube chat. Email them to me at tmckernan@InsideSTL.
Hope you're looking at the one of the guy brushing his wet hair.
That's the one that I was going with.
Yeah.
That's the one that I enjoyed, and that's the one that's going out.
Yeah, that one is really good. Dark hair, and he's just wisping his hand right through it, fresh out of the open water.
I just wonder who, 99% of the people who don't have me on mute and see this, I have to be like, I wonder what the fuck's going on with that guy.
I know. And it's really a shame that Mike Ryder and 101 ESPN.com took away the tweet deck that would sit there so any of the hosts, whenever they tweet, would all populate in there. And so in the middle of that on 101, you would just have a cute boy pushing his hair back.
That's right.
That's a miss. It's a miss.
It is. Where's Midnight Rider? We need to hold him accountable. Just go with the LSU mom gif. Can never go wrong, no matter the situation. That's from the great Carlos Spice, who and he's right. LSU mom gif is a classic.
Yeah.
When's the last time you tweeted? What are you, STL Burke?
That would be my Instagram. I'm just at Jackson_Burkett. I took a selfie when we had Broberg do his intro press conference, and I called it a real Puckman's Round Table. And like a really awkward selfie I took with it.
Oh, that got 64 likes.
Yeah, got the people going.
Wow, how about that? A real Puckman's Round Table.
Yeah, I kind of look like him, so I was kind of hoping that would play. But
and then there's a picture of somebody getting married at Faroe Field.
There's a real debate going on online about having weddings during football season. And there's like a contingent of people like grow up, like go to a wedding. Who cares that the football game's going on? And another contingent of like, no, like football is important and you should know that and schedule weddings around it.
I agree with that opinion.
That's kind of where I'm at. And so
I really do. Because here's the thing. You don't want people to be attending your wedding irritated that they're attending your wedding.
Right.
So it's really about being, I think, more of a I was going to say quality human being, but thinking of other people, I think is what I would say on it.
Yeah.
So I know I've told the story before, but in 2011, my wife and I were getting married, and her parents' wedding anniversary is in October, and it could have worked out, I think October 19th, that we could have gotten married on that day in 2011. And I'm like, you don't want to, I mean, if the Cardinals are in the playoffs, you don't want to do that.
Right.
And then Adam Wainwright had to get Tommy John, and I texted her. I said, well, if you want to do October. And then sure enough, with no Adam Wainwright, they win the World Series. In the SEC, you schedule a wedding between now and the end of November, you're asking for trouble.
Right. Especially in Georgia or Alabama.
I'm telling you.
Tennessee. It's going to, So I think I am in the opinion that, yes, you should probably schedule. A spring wedding is lovely.
Yeah,
Summer wedding is lovely. Hell, even a mid-December wedding is nice. But I get people want to get married in the fall. But Tim's right. You're going to have people being a little salty that they're going to be missing some stuff.
Unfortunately, it's, I'm not going to. My sister got married this year. I think that'll wrap it up for me. I think that'll be it for my weddings. Yours next year.
Well, I am in the first inning of wedding festivals.
You are.
And, It's coming. It's coming hot.
Yeah.
Got one in mid-September.
Right in St. Louis, or are you going?
St. Louis, yeah, Boston College game. But Boston College game kicks off at 11:45.
Yeah,
this wedding doesn't start till 5:30.
Yeah, you're
so
good.
we're golden. But it's coming for me. I had to get a real wingding suit.
Oh, you got a wingdinger?
Yeah, I got a wingdinger. So I got that ready to go, and it'll be fun. I really enjoy weddings, but I wouldn't enjoy them as much if I'm missing
But that's what you
football.
say when you're 26, because you do.
Yes, I do enjoy it. I do.
Right. But I did too. Well, people do at 26. But, then it gets to a point.
Right. Well, any wedding you would go to from now on most likely would be family-based, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, if we're on our second or third marriages, I mean, everybody's kind of like, all right, we understand. By this time, we're like Michael Douglas and Daryl Hannah walking along the street in Lower Manhattan. Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
Is that from Wall Street?
It is.
Yeah, where Sean Young was just kind of taken out of the film. Maybe.
And they replaced Sean Young with Daryl Hannah? Is that what happened?
No,
there?
I think Sean Young was supposed to be a bigger part of Wall Street, and it didn't necessarily work out for her.
Oh, really? Was she his wife in that movie? Gordon Gekko's wife?
I believe so. I thought because then that scene where the beach house kind of
Yeah,
thing,
that's Sean Young? I always kind of wondered because that was like an attractive...
That's Sean Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's kind of phased out of that. I just watched No Way Out with Kevin Costner.
Yeah, how'd that
She's
treat
in
you?
that. Oh, that's great. Gene Hackman. They did it on the rewatchable, so I wanted to listen to it.
God bless.
I wanted to watch it before I listened to the podcast, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Huge plot.
I got to get into that rewatchables thing.
You would like the Pulp Fiction one is obviously way too long, but I sent you the Vacation one. You'd like
Yeah.
that. They just did Rudy. I think you'd like that.
Oh, is
one.
that right? Because they had Vince Vaughn on, didn't they? Or Vince Vaughn has been doing like a media tour. Not sure what.
Yeah, he's got an Apple TV show.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Bad Monkey.
Anyway, they're walking along the streets in Lower Manhattan, and Daryl Hannah said we can't. I guess Gordon Gekko was going to try to engage in an afternoon delight.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, no, I'm seeing Bud, the great Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh, don't tell me you're falling for him. We both know love's the biggest con in the con game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Someone like Gordon Gekko doesn't seem like a guy who I don't think I would hang out with too much.
I would agree. You guys are probably on the opposite.
Just by the way he treated his staff.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's like the tip of the iceberg. The corporate fraud is another problem.
That's another thing that you weren't on board with?
Yeah, the white collar crime wasn't necessarily my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like to be with Martin Sheen having a beer at that bar they're in. That seems like a good
says
time.
You're more the guy from Queens.
He's like taking notes and
union
stuff.
guy. That's
Yeah.
you.
He looks
As
like
a
kinda
Ledoux
like
guy. You guys are all unions, basically.
Yeah, he looked like he was having a good time.
I remember having a friend of mine who would be, if we're talking, if our scale is Jackson Burkett and Gordon Gekko,
Right.
would be closer to Gordon Gekko. It wouldn't be like over there with Gordon Gekko.
It's tough to be.
But I remember him saying, this is a while ago. This is a long time ago now. Hell, you were 10, I think, when I had this conversation. He goes, I don't know, man. He goes, I think marriage is kind of like leasing a car. He goes, all the guys I know, they can kind of take it or leave it after a few years. And you kind of decide whether or not you want to re-up the lease.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, I get where he's coming from.
Sure.
I get where he's coming from. Even because it's like what made you fall in love, because everybody falls in love. I mean, I assume anyway. I don't know.
At one point or another.
And you're fucking all the time, and it's great. And ideally, everybody was just coming everywhere. You know what?
Right.
I think that would be the title of today's episode. Everybody was coming everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful, but then inevitably, it just slows down. It's biochemical.
Right.
And so what you have to be aware of, and this is where I think it can get fucked up, is you go, oh, we're not fucking all the time like we used to be. Something must be wrong. Oh, Billy Dipshit liked my picture, and he used to finger me under the bleachers in high school.
Right.
He's not happy in his marriage. I'll DM with Billy Dipshit because he used to, he knew the right motion.
Right. Can you do that one more time for the cameras thing?
Right, we can create a
Guess
GIF out of
someone
that.
missed it.
Right. And the next thing you know, you're at the Comfort Inn by Helen Fitzgerald's fucking Billy Dipshit.
Yeah.
And now Billy Dipshit's got a couple kids, and you got a couple kids, and now we're going Brady Bunching just because Billy Dipshit liked your picture.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, let me tell you something, and I want you to listen loud and clear.
Turn 'em up.
If you are Billy Dipshit, you can't be Billy Dipshit. You don't have it in you. If I find out you fucked around on your girlfriend, I'll just like drop dead.
Yeah.
It just isn't in your DNA.
No.
The juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, it's just not. I mean, it's not in general when you're married, but it sure as fuck is not when you're married and you have kids.
Right.
It's not even like a sweat. It's just not even a, I don't know what to say. I know I've said this before, but it's more about in the best interest of your family, not because I'm like, oh, this is magical.
Right.
Right. Just being honest. I know there are a lot of people who are feeling what I'm saying and can't say it, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm happy to be the bad guy.
Yeah. This is why I'm such a proponent of post-nut clarity. When Billy Dipshit comes a DMing,
Yep.
or a Julia Dipshit. Either way,
Karen Clitoris.
right? Karen Clitoris. When they come a DMing, what you do is you find however long you need, you work one out, you finish. Like Tim said, coming everywhere. And if you still feel like you want to make that move after, at least you've done your due diligence. But most likely that you'll finish and be like, bah.
Yeah.
I'll just go home and
I'm telling
cook burgers.
There was a time where I had, for lack of a better term, an arrangement. And I recall after consummating, and hey, let me tell you something. I was in over my skis, without question.
Sure.
Without question. So this was a very nice situation. And it was, hey, listen, God bless. It was a good session. I don't know if this was a compliment, but I recall her saying, "Well, you're better than I thought you were going to be."
That's a W.
Is it?
Yeah.
I guess it's better than the other way.
It's better. Yeah, better than seeming like you're going to be a real stud.
Yeah, but looking, she's just assuming that whatever. And I guess I can't blame her. I can't go look in the mirror and go, what? But anyway, I remember I was this is back in the eras of cabs. I'm on a cab, 40 in McCauslandish. And I remember going, well, that was a lot of buildup. And don't get me wrong, it was fun, but I mean, it wasn't like worth like the work that it took.
Yeah, right.
I guess that's the post-nut clarity. It was probably an hour after the nut. But I'm just like, it's so, I don't know.
Yeah, you got
now, maybe, by the way, maybe guys in particular are listening to this and going, boy, this guy, he's missing out. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe if I were 37 instead of 47, I would feel that I have no idea, or 27 for sure. I have no idea. But I'm just telling you, like to fuck up your finances, to potentially fuck up your kids, to fuck up friendships, because it's like the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where you got to pick your friend,
It could totally change your work trajectory.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then on top of it, I don't even know we were talking about this on Friday on TMA. I don't know how the fuck you get away with it anyway.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm completely oblivious.
Right.
If I wanted to check up on somebody, I could check up on you,
right.
much less like who I'm married to.
Yeah.
It's just like so. I don't know.
So
I'm just advising. Go beat off.
Yes.
Go beat off.
With any major life
that could also be the coming everywhere. Go beat off.
Yeah. : Go beat off. Like it's a sequel. That's like with any major life decision. I just think rubbing one out is a great way to clear
Look at you. Good for you.
I think it's
welcome to the dark side.
I think it's just a really good way to make sure that your senses are firing correctly. Because the last thing you want is some sort of sexual feeling to cloud your judgment.
Oh, I'm telling you. So in a way, well, not in a way, I guess I'm glad that happened, because once it happened, I'm kind of like, oh.
You kind of got a taste before getting the taste.
Yeah, I just
really
am like, oh, this, hey, enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wouldn't, like, oh, if that were presented and I didn't have any, strings attached, so to speak. Yeah, fuck yeah, wonderful way to spend an evening. But as far as when you calculate the downside, it's just, I don't know. But listen, maybe we've had people texting the show like everybody's cheating. And I'm talking about TMA, balloon party, I don't know. But on TMA, I'm just going, God, I must be oblivious to it.
Right.
I don't know.
I yield to, whenever I go back into the 101 office and try to fight Jamie Rivers, or at least allude to scrapping with him, he'll always tell me, don't let 5 seconds ruin the rest of your life. And I think that could apply.
Jamie Rivers, he's talking about you wanting to scrap with him?
Yeah, fighting with him. He's like, don't let one stupid decision ruin the rest of your life, kind of. And I think that definitely applies to this situation. Like, don't like one night of ecstasy is certainly not worth the headache that would come. Not to mention the trauma you could give to your children or significant other or yourself. Yeah. Don't mess with it. Seems like a bad idea.
I had a person I know. Truly, this isn't like a code word. But a person I know, there's a divorce, and the kid, great kid, and then like how it, impacted him that he can't sleep and, wet in the bed, and I'm just going, oh my God, if I have to go to my grave knowing that I caused that just so I could,
Right, it's just never worth it.
For I don't know.
Many reasons.
But 20 years ago, fuck. That's not the way that I thought.
Yeah, it's never ever been on the table in my thought process.
I know, which is great, which is why you will be married possibly in 2025. 4-star lock has been released on 2026, and you'll be a parent no later than 2027. But that's great because you are ready and you are a good human being.
Thank you.
You don't have the demons that inhabit my tiny little body.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely trying to bring in a child before the 28th election.
That's your big thing.
I think that's gonna be the sweet spot in American history.
That's when you think things are gonna take off.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what's doing in the YouTube chat. Oh, we got an active YouTube chat. We got 37 friends of the feather in here for our random QFTA.
Yeah.
It's a Monday. I got 5 minutes of REM sleep last night. My Whoop band telling me that. Oh, and I had such great sleep this weekend.
Yeah, I feel like you're firing though still.
It's just one of those. It's one of those things, but it's so hot out. I'm just like, I'm not gonna go outside feeling shitty. So I'm like, let's QFTA it.
Sure.
So Jackson is abiding and so kind. I just popped my head in the door at like 11:50. I said, "How do you feel about a QFTA?"
Yeah, I mean, the way I think, like the way I build out my weekly schedule is like understanding that I will likely be here till 2 or 3 o'clock every day, and if I do that, then I can never be caught off guard. Now, there's some Fridays I like to take a shorter day so I can go hit the links. But other than that, I'm pretty open every weekday.
Well, then God bless America. So we're here for QFTA. Got a lot of good emails too on top of the YouTube chat. So if you want anything in the YouTube chat, Big Worm says, "Hey fellas, it's game week. Let's party." I love the people around the St. Louis area.
Me too, man.
And not everybody. But there is more enthusiasm, anticipation for Missouri football than any time in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's a prime opportunity, both with the expanded playoffs. You still have no NFL here. You got so many returning guys, not only returning guys, but returning guys from St. Louis.
You also have people who are Missouri fans, number one, but then you also have people who are not, who will be pulling against Missouri for their entertainment, that if it falls apart.
Yeah.
So people are kind of invested.
Yeah.
Either way, and then it can turn into a little slap and tickle. So that'll be good entertainment.
Absolutely. I think it's great. I think...
Gabe's going to be taking calls. Wow, we're up to 58 people watching this. What the fuck's going on? What the hell happened? I mean, I'm happy to entertain.
Yeah, I'm trying to wonder what this Monday would be. Next Monday, of course, Labor Day.
So absolutely. And you're going to the lake?
No.
Wow.
No. No lake for me.
Wow.
Although, no. I'm trying to think of a circumstance in which I would go to the lake on Labor Day, and there isn't one.
Believable.
Simply is not one. No.
Big Worm says, "I'm heading down Thursbin with 7 other dudes. Going to be a tight fit." I guess he's talking Columbia.
Nice.
Cucky the Dwarf is active in there. "I have the urge to spread my seed too. I do it at truck stops like a gentleman." Yep. That's the right way to do it.
Right.
If you're going to do it at a truck stop.
Yeah, out of the zip code, if you would.
Let's see. Growing up is hard to do, Mr. McKernan. That's from Toy Maltese Mafia family. Yeah, I don't know. There isn't a sliver of me on a Friday or Saturday night that's like, let me go get incredibly fucked up and try and chase ass, or I wish I could go get incredibly fucked up and chase ass. I am all for it. I will encourage my sons to do it. It'll be wonderful. Wear a condom if you could. But other than that, enjoy the hell out of it.
Sure.
But I have zero interest in doing it at this point. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not going, I regret doing that. I don't regret it at all. It was great.
Yeah.
Where are you now that you're a man in love and a man in love?
I've never been like a binge drinker. Like I don't like getting all fucked up has never really been my thing. And So like stuff like that, and then like being out super late, trying to score has never really been a thing that I like to do. Maybe brief moments in college.
At my house.
My house for sure.
Oh, is that where you would score? Is that the place where you'd pick them off?
Big 12 on Thursdays.
That was your sweet spot.
I was like Jordan in '97. That's where I was. Just not in terms of like picking up women. No, I was always Tony Kukoc.
I'm surprised you don't know the name.
Yeah.
Very disappointing.
Yeah,
Very
there was
alarming.
more of him, but that's when I would like really like Thursday nights in college. Guaranteed, I was really effed up. Like guaranteed.
Is that right?
Well, I lived above Shakespeare's. So if you know Columbia, that's basically 9th and Elm. And then on the corner of 9th and Elm on the other side, there's a bar called Big 12. It's now called Campus Bar and Grill, but everyone still calls it Big 12. And on Thursday nights, they would have 75-cent triple wells. And then when I was a senior, it got up to $1 because the city of Columbia made them charge at least $1. And so you'd walk in with about $14, $5 for cover, the rest for beverages, and you would leave as drunk as you've ever been in your entire life. And it was the best. And I would never have class Friday. It was the best.
I'm telling you, I really did not go to class at all. Once I got into the journalism school, like that was, hey, you're on your way to making $20,000 a year. But once I got into the journalism school, I'm like, well, now, and I happen to be right, but now everything is going to come down to what we called our tape. Now it's a YouTube reel.
Sure.
And I'm like, so the grades, that's how I justify it. I'm just not going to class.
Yeah, right.
And I happen to be right, I guess. But therefore, that meant in 97 and 98 and 99, I just would anchor or report and then just drink.
Yeah. Would you show up for test days?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember going up to, I guess it was probably a TA, I don't know if it was a professor, and going, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to come to class. I just need to pass. It was Finance 1, 2, 3, too.
Nice.
I'm sitting there.
You're like, I'll fade that.
I think I remember there wasn't like it wasn't a conversation. I think it was stunned silence. Like, this guy's actually coming up to me. Yeah. I'm taking it pass fail. I need these 3 hours. And I think she's just like, wow, I don't know. What the fuck is this? Probably.
Announcing it is an odd move.
Yeah.
Why not just do it and then not say anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking back on it.
So
but how financially moronic I was up until, I don't even know, not even a decade ago. I really could have used that Finance 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I only had one class like that, really. It was marketing, and it was there were 4 grades that you would get that would determine your overall grade. It was the 4 tests, and there was no attendance points. And so it was like a 3:00 class. And so once I heard that, I was like, all right, I'll see you on those 4 test dates, and I'll never return. And by golly, I did, and I got a C. And
yeah, I took care of business.
Move on.
Veiled Prophet wants to know, is Rick going to break out the yellow diaper on Thursday? The yellow diaper is in our studio. For the record, it was a life jacket-ish thing that Jackson jumped into the Caribbean Sea in January of 2023.
Yeah, no, I don't see me doing any swimming. I don't really get too messed up on days before shows. I did that once when we were here at Hubbard. I went to a Blues game. And
I think I heard tell
I probably
about
had
that.
8 light beers in about a 3 or 4 hour span.
That is.
And I was and I woke up the next morning, I was like, this was a bad idea. And so I don't really do that anymore.
I remember, I think Tommy said, boy, I saw Jackson last night. He was having a good time.
Yeah, Tommy was there. And it was really early in our career here at Hubbard. So I was like,
bold.
I was very bold, but I had gotten after it. And I came into work hurt the next morning.
All right, I got some good emails here from the people. I'll see how many we got. Boy, they're coming in. This is nice that the people are involved. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. I'm just going in descending order. Hey, Tim, with TMA recently having its 20th anniversary, I wanted to get your thoughts on some hypothetical scenarios regarding the show. Jackson, you'll love this because it's 3 sliding doors in TMA history.
Cool.
What if Dan Marshall would not have been adamant about bringing in Bubba the Love Sponge and instead keeping the same agreement Inside STL had with 590? Do you think 590 the man would have stayed around longer? And then he presents 2 more. Yeah, I guess, but I don't. It was so doomed. And I don't know if I would have. I don't know. I don't recall like the legal terms in my agreement. If I had the option to leave early, so I don't know. I just knew after the first 2 minutes at the most of talking with him, I can picture where I was in my house being on the phone with him in 2012 or 13. I remember like looking at my phone, going, "Oh my God,
Right.
he's fucked." And I didn't say it like from "Oh my God, this is going to be hilarious." I'm like, "Oh fuck, this guy's going to lose a lot of money."
Right.
And so, story I know I've told, I called Kelly Chase, who put us together, and Kelly Chase owns shares inside STL, and I said, "Hey, this guy's in part basing his business on ratings. 590 does not get ratings. He's gonna lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I would recommend calling your friend and telling him." Not to. He's not my friend. He shows up at the press box every once in a while, so I just wanted to connect you. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
So Chase didn't want to get. But I'm just like, oh boy, it's an odd thing that people think that for whatever reason they can just like get into our business. And I'm not saying it should be like getting into medical school. To be clear, I'm just saying it still is a business that you have to have some understanding of, even if it's a stupid one.
Well, it's one thing to get into a business that you know nothing about and do it, and there's another of getting into a business you know nothing about and then ignoring all advice from people who do know or do have some expertise.
Yeah,
We're not leaning on people who do have the expertise.
it's on that one, I think, and I don't know, but I think a lot of what went on there was surrounding oneself with yes people.
Right. Okay. That's fair.
And so if you are in fear of speaking up, then that is how something because when we went to 920 and we wanted to have an affiliate, and so we took CBS Sports 920, but we wanted to give credibility to a station that otherwise most people in St. Louis hadn't heard of. So we called it CBS Sports. It meant nothing. We had to play CBS overnights. They just wanted to be able to say they were in St. Louis. It didn't cost us anything. We didn't get any money. That was a zero sum. But we could use that logo.
Yeah.
That was the reason for doing it. When I talked with Fox Sports Radio. I talked with probably not ESPN because I'm sure they were at 101. There were a few different ones, NBC Sports. And when I would talk with these guys, and they were in different markets, and they would go, "Hey, is that thing about the man or woman, is that like an April Fool's thing, or is that really happening in St. Louis? Because we keep talking about it, we can't tell if it's a joke or not." So it was the talk of our industry as a joke, but people thought, because I think the press conference might have been around April Fool's Day, or there's an article on April Fool's
Wasn't it
Day.
in March? Because that's when Pride Joe
Yeah,
was.
so something happened on April 1st, though. Okay. And people like it. See, this has to be a joke, because people thought it was so stupid in our industry that they're just like, this can't be real.
Right.
So I would it have stayed around longer? Yes, but overall, it wouldn't have like been going on now, and it wouldn't have been going on probably in 2 years either. What if Jason Barrett would not have sent that email? How about that? That's very specific.
06?
The 06 email that he sent to Martin Kilcoyne and the Cat, and I guess I was on it too, but he was mad at Martin Kilcoyne and the Cat. This was following Game 1 of the Mets NLCS series, and we were in New York City, and they were staying out in Queens. The Cardinals and Mets had played the night before, and the game didn't end until probably midnight New York time. They probably had to get post-game at what was Shea Stadium still. They were staying in Queens and then had to get into the city from Queens during rush hour and do a show on the west side of Manhattan at CBS. Me being somebody who did not have to go to the game and was more than content to sit in my hotel room, I booked my own hotel room in Manhattan.
No, the standard.
Absolutely. Paid for it myself, though, because I'm like, hey, I get it. I'm not going to stay in some shithole in Queens.
Right. So the radio station was going to put you up in a crummier hotel.
We did the show, I believe, on the morning of Game 1 in Martin's room at the Comfort Inn in Queens.
Oh, yeah.
So help me God. I remember getting out, taking a cab out there, and going, holy fuck. This wasn't the Halcyon / Salad Days of local TV,
Yeah.
but it at least was better than it is now.
Sure.
It's 2 decades ago, and that poor motherfucker was staying at the Comfort Inn off of, I don't even know what the hell it was. I remember you could see Shea Stadium and LaGuardia from
not the worst part of New York, but not the best for sure.
Oh my God. And we're doing like Martin sitting on his bed, and we've like moved like a nightstand, and we're doing the show. I mean, just the stuff you dream of. Doing
it in the small motel room.
So that was Thursday. And then on Friday, so they have to go into the west side of Manhattan. So who knows how long. So maybe they got like 4 hours of sleep at the most.
Yeah, if that.
And they just decided, which I'm sure they would both agree, that they should have let the station know that they weren't going to do the 9 o'clock hour of what was the morning grind. But I don't believe they did, if memory serves, or I don't know what happened. But all I know is I did the show with Chris Domino for the final hour, and Barrett sent out an email just lighting them up. And it was, I mean, for real, as far as like text goes, like that size.
Probably reading on a BlackBerry or something.
And I was. I took my cab from CBS over back to my hotel room, and I remember thinking to myself, this is going to be the end. Yeah. Because we were already pissed off that Joe had been fired, and I'm like, but the explosion that came on Monday morning with Martin it superseded expectations. So the next, what if Jason Barrett would not have sent that email? Do you think the grind would have continued, or do you think it would have changed down the road at some point due to any other fact? That's a nice question. The 590 the man thing was doomed no matter what. I don't know. Martin always said that the schedule was just getting to be too much for him. I remember that, and he goes, even if they made changes in management, even if they came back and offered me more money, he's just like, I just am kind of just done with it, and, you're doing TV until late. I get that, and also who knows? I don't know. I don't think it would have ended when it did. I just think eventually it would have happened, and it would have been what wound up happening, Martin leaving, I think, most likely. But I don't think it would have ended in October 2006. That's for sure. Can you imagine any sort of scenario where TMA would have stayed at 590 in 2021, at the end of 2021, if the Cat and Plowsy were not furloughed? I know those are not directly why you eventually left, but if 590 wouldn't have fucked around with the show like it did regarding the Cat, Plowsy, and Gangster Pete, and they also fucked around with the Sea Monster, but that's not included in the email, I would imagine everyone's opinions on station management prior to Dave Zobrist taking over might have been different, hence you guys not looking at any other options when your contract was coming to an end. I can tell you this, whereas the first two are hypotheticals, although I'm certain 590 the man and 13 the woman would have never lasted. The other one's a good hypothetical. I will go as far as to say this. With certainty, had Dave Zobrist closed on that radio station, at some point in 2021, we wouldn't have left. Period. But he did not own it. And therefore, he had an agreement to own it, but he did not own it, and therefore that was it. So, but that's an astute question. Just some pure hypotheticals for you and Jackson to workshop. That's from Dan Ulrich. I don't know if you have any thoughts on those, because those kind of predate you, minus the third one.
Yeah, but you said it all there. No, I love a hypothetical though. So great email from Dan.
Yeah, tip of the cap. That was well done. You can always email in. We're looking for erotic stories.
If you would.
I mean, is anybody out there just having a threesome? Is anybody?
If they are, they're not letting us know about it, which is bullshit.
Do you know if any of your friends have had a threesome?
One in college.
Jesus, Mary and Josephine, what are we doing out here? What are you guys doing? Sitting around in the corner and beating off, like watching Stag together? What are we doing?
There was one time where a buddy of mine, one of my roommates, my senior year, was engaging with a woman, and me and a couple buddies were out in the living room while this was going on, and one of my buddies laughed quite heartily, and she asked, "Who is that laughing in there?" And my buddy told her, and he goes, "Oh, I know him. Do you think he would come and join us?"
Sporting.
Very sporting. I
was hoping that was going to go lesbianic, but it's fine.
And then he didn't approach him right then and there, and that really pissed off my buddy, because he was like,
were they in a relationship, or was this just like a...
Yeah.
Okay,
this was like
all right.
a little friend. And And I maintain that they would have never done it because as soon as both of them took their clothes off, they would have giggled too much.
I don't think Ella Reese, both of our favorites, right?
Yeah, Queen.
Queen Ella.
Yeah.
Ella Reese, anybody I know, I mean, even like on the periphery, even like a listener I met at Hot Shots in 2012 or something, could say, hey, we can fuck.
Right.
And, you know, and I know it's going to be because I've seen that.
Right. Not too dissimilar to Billy Dipshit's movement
Right,
into
with the
bleachers.
fingers, just an opposite motion. This is more wrist, that was more finger.
Right.
But, you know, take your pick of whatever. Brian Henson's going to be joining us.
Right. And how nice to have the Indianapolis Star represented there.
I'd be like, I mean, if it's a gentleman I don't know, I think, but if it's like a guy I know,
right, you can't look at that guy the same.
I don't think that I.
Right.
I mean, maybe for Queen Ella, I could do my damnedest, but I just can't.
Right.
So I get that. So they're in
the midst,
and this guy just laughs.
Correct.
And that becomes the siren song for an MMF.
So I should.
That could be the title of today's episode.
Clear some
also.
details.
And this was oatmeal, right?
I don't want to dox.
Oh my God, it was oatmeal.
I don't want to dox anybody.
Wow, I just got a healthy payoff.
I mean, oatmeal doesn't listen. So, oatmeal's a black gentleman, and his laugh. The woman was interested in the black gentleman to join, and so when she heard the laugh, she was like, "Oh, is that guy? Is he a black guy?"
Really?
She wanted to yeah.
That actually is like a stag film.
Right. So that was like
that's like a stag cuck film, I think. Actually,
that was a moment. But
so did she want to be 6'4" or did she want to just like?
Oh yeah, this was the old Herbert Hoover.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Boy.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, oh, I want to have sex with him too. She wanted a three-way.
But like a DP.
Yeah, likely. Either way, I just don't. I just don't see.
I mean, we don't go for. To me, you're not just like, I'd like to be with two guys at one time. That's one level.
Yeah.
But then on the pyramid, like at the tippy top, I think we're going to, hey, we were just hooking up. Oh, I enjoyed his laugh. Why don't you go in my ass? and then he can be the anchor.
Right. Ultimately, this never happened because, again, I think if...
Right, but I mean, you're saying she wanted to be DP'd.
Well, yeah, likely.
I just don't think I think you're jumping to conclusions.
You're the one...
No, I really do. Like, to say that it's likely that she wanted to be DP'd.
Well, she wanted both of them in there at the same time.
In the room. Right.
Well, you think they were going to do, like, a hot swap?
Yeah, I just think the DP is I think we've really ratcheted things up.
Yeah.
Now, hey, she hears a guy laugh and she wants an MMF.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe she just wanted him to go next. But either way,
choo-choo?
Either way, I don't think there was a situation where they could have both gotten naked and not started giggling.
I agree with that. I mean,
so I don't think that would have ever happened. So that's what but they always get mad. They're like, no, dude, it would have for sure happened. I was like, no, I don't think
we're reaching peak numbers on the YouTube, by the way, during this DP conversation. I guess we should just talk DPs every week.
Well, the only time that it actually did happen with a different buddy was a hot swap situation. But
I don't know what a hot swap is.
He had sex with a girl in her dorm. Her roommate woke up to the sound of them having sex, and she was like, I went in on the action. He switched benches.
God, I gotta tell that just wasn't going on as much when I was in Columbia. And it is. My wife just texted me. Like, oh, God, is she watching?
Yeah.
Nope, just need anything from the grocery store. Thank God.
Barabells.
Yeah, Barabells is right, but I don't think they sell them.
Banana pudding?
Bananas and vitamin waters. It's my standard answer.
Yeah. Well, you like a nice pudding, though, every once in a while.
Once every 5 years or so, you must have been around me when I was in that mode.
I remember you telling me you're like, I had a real hankering for banana pudding.
I did, and then I had it, and I'm just like, what did I just do?
It's kind of, it seems like there's like a cheating with your spouse and vanilla and banana pudding. It's like, it sounds better than it actually ends up being.
The downside on the former is greater than the latter, but obviously the upside is...
Well, in the long run, heart disease is a real thing.
Yeah, heads up on your pudding interests. 64 people have gathered for this. It must have been my gif of the guy coming out of the water.
Yeah, now what if that guy in Ella Reese knocked on your door, hey, Tim.
It could be any guy I don't know in Ella Reese. Okay. If it's a buddy of mine,
right.
I'd just be like, oh... Is that a weird thing?
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
Because like, there's no way you and your buddy can then like go back to like,
Yeah.
like playing an
I don't
afternoon
think-
9.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Although we had that, I don't think you were around for this. Caller Luke, and I think he played hockey at a pretty well-known college, but I don't want to like air it out because I don't know if he ever talked about it. And it sounded like these guys, like, as a team, like, are always naked and fucking together.
Yeah.
And they made it sound like it was just kind of commonplace, and we were the squares for not being down with this.
I mean,
Like, yeah, my buddy was over there and he was beating off, and I'm just like, well, what do we do? I mean, hey, you know what I don't do? Kink shame. So God bless. But I mean, if I as traumatized as I was by peeking over the corner of my shoulder and seeing the gentleman in my office chair masturbating, if it were a guy I knew masturbating in my office chair, I probably have to call things off.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I really have a clear moral compass on
I'm
all
with
this.
you because I think boundaries are important, and I think that right there is an important boundary.
Yeah, don't beat off in my office chair if we graduated from the University High School together, or almost graduated from Missouri together. What's going on? This YouTube chat's
Yeah, I
active as
got a
it is.
beef with.
What's going on?
One little clog writes, quote, Tim, I eat the same protein bar as you. Did you hear that? From One Little Clog. I want it to be known that I handed Tim his first Bear Bells bar.
Did you really?
Yes, in the 101 studio. I flipped it to you.
I
from my back
think you might have, and then I didn't have another one for a few months,
Yeah.
and then I was at Deerberg's.
And then you got hip, yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I think that's the thing that I had from Jackson. I'm telling you, people honestly think they're like advertising. They're not. I mean, they should be.
100%.
They're unbelievable.
They're truly outstanding. Like,
I mean, I maintain, my $1.55. Keep in mind how small I am,
Right.
but
but also scrappy as all get out.
scrappy as fuck. But I mean, to not eat like to like have my same shit I have. Coffee, water, banana, isopure protein shake, which is a limited amount of carbohydrates, 52 grams of protein, and then a Bear Bells bar or two. That's all I eat, and I'm completely up until dinner.
Chickadee-dle.
Which is oftentimes chickadee-dle. You're 100% correct.
Yeah, on the Weber kettle.
And I can have a feast, and it just does me well.
Yeah, and there's one of them that tastes exactly like a Milky Way bar, and
And what one is that again?
it's they have this new line of soft protein bars.
I gotta
Sell-
find, and that's
sell
it. That's at Deerberg's.
on the run, mobile on the run, just like a
Really?
quarter of a mile down the road.
You
here
keep
on
talking
Olive.
about that. I gotta get there.
They are the one that and the mint one. They're like the softer ones. They're just like a flat bar. Unbelievable.
I gotta try it. Yeah, I've seen you enjoying that one. I second that. What's Tim? What's your tea? There must be something going on here that I missed.
It's tough to keep track with.
I know. Hey, it's.
YouTube chat.
I really miss 920. 920. Random thought, I see, but 920. That was for real. Not the beginning, but 2015ish. 920, and that's not to say that I'm not happy now. It's I'm talking about like life. It was the most freedom I've ever had. I wasn't making close to what I make now, but as far as freedom goes, we didn't have kids.
Yeah.
We didn't run the station, but we were brokering the time Monday through Friday. So as long as I gave Bert Kaufman the check, and we did every month, obviously, it just we had a good group. We didn't have any bullshit. My wife and I could go, and I could go do my World Series of Poker shit, be in Las Vegas. God, that was the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, there were some good shows there. There was some talented people there, good shows, no bullshit. I mean, if there's one thing that I would say, I mean, the core issue on why we left 920 was, and Bert's a great guy, may he rest in peace, but I don't know why the fuck he got so aggressive with his pricing. You can't do that when there's nobody else who's in town's going to pay that.
Right. Leverage is weak.
Yeah. And, we started at X in, I guess, what was that, August of 2013. And by the time we left, we were at almost 2X per month. And I'm just like, dude, I mean, you can't do this. Had he stayed just like a standard, I mean, even like 2 to 3% increase, we might still be there, honestly. God.
That's when I started listening, right? When you guys were at 920.
It was a good time.
That's good.
It was a good
I
time.
really loved it. That was when I was most into the program. Actually, my interest in it was pretty consistent throughout my listening career.
Yeah.
And I listened every
Every waking
millisecond
moment.
of it. Yeah.
I have a compadre of mine who says he likes that you're getting, not that you're getting hostile, but that you'll fire back.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people.
Do you think balloon parties brought that out of you?
Yes.
You think that's what it was?
Yes. And I think being in the studio now, whereas like before I could kind of hide.
Yeah.
Now they're like, oh, look, Jackson's wearing a stupid T-shirt. It's like, oh, all right, you guys want to play ball today?
And you go.
Yeah.
I need to say thanks to Tim doing that parenting email last week. Very introspective. Enjoyed it. So thank you to both. That's from Doggy, season ticket holder. Yeah, I guess that was a different kind of QFTA last week.
That's the fun about QFTA is there's no.
You never know.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I mean, I could be home. If anything, today I need to be sleeping with the failed sleep last night. But we'll bounce back tonight, Jackson. We'll bounce back tonight.
Nap in the shower is a great way to
I
recharge.
just do not. I'm so lucky. I'll talk to Riz. I don't know if Courtney does or not. Courtney Landrum. Riz will nap. But I mean, I got a 2-year-old running around. I got
difficult in that
now
sense.
a 7-year-old running around at 3 o'clock. It's just a different deal. I wake up from a nap and I don't feel good.
Right.
So that's
the shower. That's why the shower.
The shower is the key.
You got to, as soon as you wake up from the nap, you go to the shower. After the shower, totally refreshed.
Is that right? Really?
Oh, it's a power move.
All right, this is good knowledge. All right. Boy, we got an active YouTube chat. I know I've said that. I just didn't realize that I needed to scroll back as far as I did. I'm surprised Jackson is on the show considering the massive amount of video games he plays. That's from Cucky the Dwarf.
Yeah. Now, with Cucky and that, just the tenor, I can tell that's just a little ribbing.
Yeah.
And I will never get hostile with that. Not to mention I love Cucky the Dwarf.
A brilliant comedic mind is what I would tell you.
One of the best, man. The way he does with technology, like the AI stuff they do with the songs, not to mention emails. Colin's construction tips are always welcomed.
Colin's construction
Big
tips.
fan of Cucky the Dwarf.
Let's see. Oh, okay. I read these usually when they first come in, but I forget them, and I just save them in this email file. Tim, I believe it was last January or February when you and Jackson did QFTA every day for a month. We did that in January, right?
Yes.
So 7 months ago. I loved it. As QFTA is in my top podcasts listened to, especially when you just go off on a deep dive, completely unscripted espousings podcasts are usually the best ones. Their plans or have you thought about doing this again this coming winter? Thanks. That's from Cuck Knobloch. I love doing it. It was, again, I don't know if I would call it a lot. It just added on. I would say, if anything, I don't know. I wouldn't say no. I don't know. I would say, I know it's a terrible answer, but the honest answer is maybe.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed that month.
I did too, and it was January, so I'm not like running out to hit golf balls or anything. Here's what I would say. I guess here's how I can help it, give a real thorough answer for the handful of you who care. After doing Stupiracy with the video department, the production department, and seeing how, Riz and I, or whatever, God bless, anytime I get a chance to talk about him, A+ guy, was great
Mega talent.
Yeah, but it's just a good guy on top of it, much less the talent. So I'm just like, they want us to do a podcast together? Cool, I'll do it, whatever. But it wasn't until I saw them, they're like, yeah, we're going to build a set. I'm like, okay, whatever, because I'm just used to like walking in, there's a microphone, I talk. I've done it from a Martin's Comfort Inn in Queens. It doesn't really matter where I'm doing it. I don't really care. And then I saw the set, but then I saw how it looked when it was up on their monitors. I go, oh, fuck. Yeah. These guys aren't playing around. And then that test run golf show that we did that I keep telling you I need to send you, and I still haven't. But the quality of that, what it does is it fires me up. And I keep telling Josh McNew, that I'm like, because we met, I don't know, about a month ago, maybe even less than that. And I said, I want to do this. I'm interested in doing this. And he goes, oh my God, this is so great. He goes, that you're on air, you're doing a morning show, but you want to do more.
Yeah.
You don't want to just like leave. I go, oh no, I can't just sit back and enjoy what I have. There always has to be more. It's fucking not healthy, as I always say. But I'm like, I think we can do this. I think, and then I'm seeing what you did with this. And so we're going to be doing more. It's a matter of really which projects that we do. But I picture, like, I'd love to, like, do QFTA on video.
Yeah.
you know?
Right, and the real set.
Love to bring in like Maddie, you know, for QFTA or something like that. I don't know. There's more I want to do. That doesn't mean I don't want to do TMA. I want to make that clear. But it's about adding on, and especially you have to be cognizant of where the industry, I wouldn't even say is going, is where the industry already is.
Yep.
And so it would be irresponsible to not observe that. So when I started working with him just on the two things that we've done so far, but it's the whole department, I'm like, man, these guys, we can do some quality shit. And I guess in my mind, it's like the shit that I used to have to do that I'm really not good at, like setting up cameras and having to pull it off all while hosting the show, and then it can be fucked up looking.
Yep.
They do that, and they make it look really good. Like what they did with the thing with me and Rafe going to play golf is so well done. I couldn't believe it. And it was a quick turnaround. It was like a 5-day turnaround. So that fires me up to do that golf show. And it's not about like, oh, Tim's doing a golf show. Great. Can't wait to watch him, you know, go out and shoot 5 over or something. Who fucking cares? That's not what it is. It's more us bullshitting and dicking around and doing interviews. It's just, I don't know, it fires me up. So it's TMA, but there's some additional things. And QFTA could be something that comes into play there. What happened? You got you take your clit ring off?
Yeah, sorry. My C ring is now off, so I'm totally unencumbered.
Let's see. Read mine, Tim. I need answers. That's from Don Peepee. I don't know what that means.
The last thing I see is you ain't lived until you've entered the Piggly Wiggly. I have. It's a southern grocery store.
I have as well.
I used to have a T-shirt from Piggly Wiggly that I would wear damn near every day.
Did you wear that to the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas, or was that just the Sleepless in Seattle?
If I went back for night 2, I would have brought out.
Did anybody approach you when you were in that Sleepless in Seattle?
No, absolutely not.
Did you see a lot of bachelorette parties and a lot of girls' nights out?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Somebody was fucking.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a lock.
Oh, my God, 100%. Someone was probably fucking who shouldn't be fucking.
I agree with you again. That's just the way, especially at that chandelier bar.
Which was really cool.
Now, what does that mean right there?
The chandelier bar. Like,
oh, okay. I thought you were like going, hey, I really love infidelity.
No,
it's really cool.
No, far from it.
Okay.
But the chandelier bar, just 3-level with like that big ass chandelier. I thought it was cool.
Jackson's correct. Post-shower nap is only way to not feel like a useless sloth and overpaying for DoorDash, double downing on slothing. Nice observation from Carlos Spicy Wiener. I appreciate Jackson so much. A breath of fresh air. The listeners trying to break him will be a battle for the ages. It's McKernan the door. He's unbreakable.
True, like in terms of like actual breaking, yeah.
Right.
I can be. You can put a little damage on the armor.
Yeah, but you're just.
I won't fully break because I've been given too much good wisdom by people who've been on the show or are still on the show now that it's like too hard at this point.
Yeah, you kind of recognize it for.
And like I don't read any of the stuff like on any of the back channels as we've talked about.
So you've rid yourself.
Yeah, the only time I see like criticism or bullshit is like text line or that. Maybe the occasion. Like,
do you recognize it as cost of doing business, or does any of it ever bother you?
No,
really, it never bothers you.
I mean,
honestly.
there's stuff that has bothered me before,
yes,
but then
currently.
No.
Wow.
No.
Are you approaching Doug Von Nirvana? At
no,
26?
and I don't want to say that as like a challenge to people.
Absolutely.
Like,
or you can offer $200.
Not really what I'm looking for, and definitely I'm not offering any monetary value to it. But I'm just not really in the looking for that. But you know, it's the cost of doing business. You know, you're gonna put yourself out there. People are gonna be critical, and that's fine. You know, it's not gonna change anything I do.
I was trying earlier to equate each person on TMA to a pro athlete. Oh, I didn't see that. Kucky the Dwarf was doing that early in the YouTube chat. If you want to scroll up, see
Tim Bron.
Don Peepee says I'm Stubby Clapp. KG is Mike Trout wallowing his talents away in Anaheim.
Okay.
Further up, but I won't be demanding. Don Peepee. Oh, I guess he's talking about it. Kucky the Dwarf says, I am Derek Jeter. He's the man we all want to be and the man all the women want to be with, and he's banged them all, like Frank says. Jackson has a Ben Zobrist vibe. Oh, no. Ben Zobrist got cocked. Yeah, by your pastor, which will be interesting.
No, I don't want to be Ben Zobrist.
Utility guy, clubhouse guy, champion. Doug is Ted Williams, a fighter pilot, ball-playing American hero, a real man. I like this Kucky the Dwarf.
Yeah, I don't like I don't really like my equating me to Ben Zobrist. He's talking about pastor, right?
I'm going to be Derek Jeter, Doug is to be Ted Williams, and you're Ben Zobrist.
Right. It's gonna just be tough just from a logistical standpoint, but okay.
I'm trying to imagine Jackson getting mad and yelling, and I can't do it. I just picture him being a little stern. That's from MD 2020.
Yeah. I don't
think I've ever heard you yell.
No, not in a serious fashion. No. I can't even remember the last time I truly yelled about something.
Cucky the Dwarf said, damn, did not know about the Zobrist cucking, but it makes sense.
That's all I know about Ben Zobrist is that he got cucked.
Cardinals seemed like they were in the mix for him a few times.
He was on Tampa, right? He was like in Tampa and Milwaukee.
Well, I mean, he won the World Series with the Cubs. He had the big hit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be Ben Zobrist at all.
All right, Jackson's now out, Cucky the Dwarf.
Can I be Bernie Williams?
He has to be number 51 with the pinstripes. Let me see if I got another one from the email. How long have we been going, by the way?
About 50 minutes.
Wow, okay. All right, let me see. All I know is this is about nesting bodies, so I'm going to read it. Hey, Tim, listening to nesting bodies, major recommendation on that. Yeah. And you mentioned that a topic is asked not to be discussed maybe once a year or two, which brought me to this question for the dais. What subject that was discussed on the show that someone you know, friends, family, brought to your attention that embarrassed you and you felt bad that person heard you discussing the topic? Toodles. That's from Eric Jablonski. I got to be honest with you. As I read that, I'm like, it isn't once a year. I don't even know what we as a show decided no more on the politics on the morning after January 6th. Mm-hmm. One of the best decisions in show history.
Yeah.
And then I can recall the cat with a request at the very beginning of the show. I guess my divorce decree from 16 years ago, and understandably so. Anytime she's talked about it, I say, my ex-wife's a great person, but she was just like, I don't want you talking about this. I'm totally reasonable. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's not like the cat and Doug were like, hey, we really need to break this down.
Right.
But I'm just like, hey, just FYI.
Right.
We can't talk about it. But other than that, I don't know. Has there been anything?
Not since I've been on.
And you don't have to say what it is. I just don't think it's.
No, truly nothing.
Yeah.
True. I mean, we kind of all have, there's like the unwritten rule of like you leave the families out of it and then everything else is a go.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing since I've been on the program.
Let's see. This is somebody playing TMA Fantasy Radio. All right, let me go into the YouTube chat and see if we got anything doing. Jackson reminds me a little of Ron Gant.
I know very little about Ron Gant.
Well, Ron Gant had 2 home runs against Tom Glavine in Game 3 of the 1996 NLCS.
All right, I'll take that.
Yeah, Tom and now he hosts Morning News in Atlanta.
Yeah.
On the Fox affiliate. Am I right on that? Somebody check with my nurse.
Yeah. I could be Ron Gant. That seems like a nice W for me.
We'll never see a run like we had in the halcyon days. Are we talking email of the day? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, it looks like.
Oh, where's that come? Where I didn't see the question on that.
Looks like.
Oh, run of emailers like the Misty Plops era. We'll never see a run like we had in the halcyon days. Plops, Matt, who bowls at Hanks, Lefty Jackson. I don't know. Maybe one day. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downgrade that. I'm just saying that one thing that stands out to me, having been a part of, the show for 20 years, is the way the past is romanticized in the present, but the present is never romanticized in the present.
Yeah. No one ever says we're living in the glory days.
Right. So but I mean, it's fine. It's the deal, and I understand. I'm not saying I'm not a Stern fan. I just don't really listen much anymore. And I think the show was the best when Artie Lang was on it. Mm-hmm. Whatever. I'm sure there's some people who are like, oh, Jackie Joke Man was great. Fuck, I don't know. Or Stern was the best when he was like, going after people all the time. Hell, I have no idea. Right. So it's all point of reference, and you just kind of recognize it's subjective. I track our dollars, and I track our downloads, and I track what management here says, and that's kind of it. And that's how you can kind of not even, I don't want to say not even pay attention, but I guess I don't pay attention. I mean, I pay attention, I suppose, but I don't get caught up in noise, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't know.
Right. I mean,
like if the downloads were down, if revenue was down, and if management was like, I don't know, you're up at the end of the year, we'll let you know here in a couple months, I'd be like, yeah, it's over. You know,
Right.
So you know, I mean,
Yeah. It's the romanticizing the past thing.
but it's fine. But it's fine. I'm not complaining about the romanticizing the past.
No, it's just a thing that's always been done and will continue to be done forever.
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of the beast. But what I guess what I'm saying is, as somebody who's hosted it, I've never felt like I'll occasionally get emails. It just isn't necessarily posted like in a public forum, as far as I know. But it's not like I'm reading all the public forums. This is the best. This is the best TMA has ever been. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But like when Martin left the show, I recall it's like, oh, the show is over. And this is not a shot at Martin. I'm just like, I don't think the show is over. Right. Just like if I would have left the show, I wouldn't have said the show is over. Martin and the cat and whoever they would have brought in. And that is actually what almost happened. Absolutely. I was the first one to almost go, actually, leaving to go to Denver in February of 2006. So, yeah, it's not about me. It's about people just get comfortable. I mean, it happens. And it's not trying to downgrade the people who have left over the years, but once you've read 10 or so times the show is over, and then you're still hosting the show so many years after you've read the show is over, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of gets a little, you know, you kind of recognize the perspective, I suppose.
Sure. The romanticizing the past thing, I think, is actually kind of reassuring from a mental health standpoint, because, like, when you look down the road in 10 years, like, you're much more likely to think of the good times than you are the bad times, you know. So if you're in a bad time in, like, 10 years or so, or even less, like, you're more likely to remember fondly or have reverence for stuff from the past than you are to, like,
that is correct,
thinking of the dark times, which is kind of nice.
I agree. It gives you a healthy perspective in the moment. I am fortunately now, like today, I wouldn't say there's any reason why I would get in an argument with my wife when I get home, but I know that if for whatever reason I start to sense trouble on the horizon, and whether it be with my kids or with my wife, or if like a big business situation popped up today, I know, I mean, not that this is like, oh, wow, so wise, but I know I got no sleep last night.
Right.
I know I'm not thinking as clearly as I normally am. And so therefore, I would make sure that I don't tend to, I would get back to the person if they needed a response, say, hey, I'm just not, today's not a good day. I assure you I will get back with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same thing, but I also recognize it in good times. If I'm on a high, that's there needs to be equilibrium.
Yeah.
That's not the time. See if you're still on a high about something in a couple of days. That'll give you better perspective. You know.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of attacking it.
But I do truly. I think one of the things, and I don't know if this either comes with age or if it comes with life experiences. But there are times, and I feel like there have been a bunch of them in the last handful of months in particular, where I catch myself going, God, this is fucking great. And this weekend was one. You know, I mean, if you would have told me a decade ago that I would have wanted to spend a Friday afternoon, number one, I wouldn't even been thinking about playing golf because I didn't play golf. But instead of playing golf on a beautiful Friday afternoon, I'd be going to swing around Funtown, which I was bitching to you about on Friday, because for whatever reason, my son, that's all he associates with his birthday, which to me is just the saddest damn thing, and I feel like a failure as a parent because of that. And you walk in there, and there's like 10 other people in there, but my son is happy as hell, and all he wants to do is go on the go-karts with me and then the bumper boats with me, and wants to play miniature golf, and then we're on his own. He's decided we're a Ryder Cup team against my wife. You know, and he's furious that she got a hole-in-one and we didn't. But, you know, it's just about his attachment. And it was just like the great, you know, I remember I was walking with you and I was like, oh, swing around Funtown. God, fuck me. Yeah. And I'm like, that was the greatest. And then the birthday party, you know, that we had and all his friends and how happy he is and his little brother and his friends are amused by how, you know, uniquely happy his little brother is and the shit he causes. And I'm just like, this was the greatest. I know that I will miss this. And so in the moment, when you recognize that, it gives you gratitude.
That's awesome.
And I hope it does. This isn't like an inspiring Facebook post kind of thing. It's just an observation that, you know, the gratitude is even better if you can feel it in the moment as opposed to the longing that you feel. You know what I mean?
The presence of mind.
So that's like I can recall getting on I-95 north off of PGA to head to what the fuck is that? Donald Ross, I guess, where the Cardinals ballpark is. And this was a while ago too. And I'm going, God, I mean, this is my job. I'm in Jupiter, Florida to host a show at the team I grew up cheering for that I still pull for with 2 or 3 guys who crack me up. The Cardinals are going to like come to our table, not even because we ask them, just because they want to fuck with us and fuck around. And when I get paid to do this, you know? Yeah. So it's those types of things. So it doesn't have to be something, as I realize that's kind of I'm a lottery ticket winner in that sense. But I think anybody can go to Swing Around Funtown. This is in Old Warson. And yeah, just to have that time. It was just me and my wife and my son. The 2-year-old was at home with grandparents. And I guess it speaks to the people, and it wasn't the place. It was the people, you know, just because it was me and my wife and my son. And I absolutely loved it. So you have further gratitude when you're experiencing that in the moment. Let's see what else we got going on.
I don't care how old you are. Go-karts are always fun. Go-kart's a good time. I love a go-kart.
Yes. I had a situation, so it's me and my son, you know, who just turned 7 that day. And, you know, you can kind of recognize who's actually really in the mood to race.
Mm-hmm. And who's on the Sunday drive. I'm
on the Sunday drive. Probably not that surprising to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I might have a live one coming up here on the left.
Yeah. that's a...
And I'm just like, okay, hey, God bless, whatever. I mean, this is probably he like you know, the Cardinals are out of town, so he can't start the wave. So this is what he's going to do. And but then he like bumps us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I mean, whatever, you know, God bless. But then he's driving so aggressively, he swerves out and is trapped perpendicular, like coming around a curve, and they have to like bring out.
That's right there when the guy has to come dislodge you while your knees are up to your ears in a little go-kart. That's when go-karts stop becoming fun.
And you're like hovering around 25 to 30 years old.
Yeah.
You know, with an elegant peach fuzz mustache and like neon pink sunglasses, and you know, this was his moment. And it was like, you know, I'm here with my son and my wife, and I'm pretty content one way or the other. But this just added to my afternoon seeing that.
Watching the guy get like the pool skimmer and dislodge you from the side because you've been driving too aggressive is when go-karts stop becoming fun. Yeah. And your knees are to your ears because you're in this little contraption.
God.
Yeah. There was one time when we were in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I was probably less than 10 years old, and there was a go-kart track. It was just a big circle. And I was crushing everybody. I was crushing all my family members. I was really feeling great. And then the person called and was like, all right, everyone come in. But I had finished first. I was like, well, I have to be the first one in. Yeah, I went. But he called it right after I passed that line. So everyone would have gone in before me. I was like, bullshit. So I tried to pull a U-turn.
Oh, my God. Look at you. You're a bandy little rooster. Who knew?
Right, but the go-karts aren't really built to turn that much. So I just went slamming into the wall. And you could like hear the go-kart person going, no! Because you're not supposed to turn around.
All hell was abroad.
Well, I wanted to finish first. So I still love go-karts to this day.
It was good entertainment. Yeah, I mean, I've been there. Like I said, probably when he turned 4, 5, 6, and 7, I was kind of hoping, and I said to my wife, hey, what are we doing for his birthday? She's going to say anything but Swing Around Funtown.
Right. Well, it's likely not going to be Vegas anytime soon.
Yeah. Because he's got this tough birthday. It's right when school starts. And I'm like, really that's such a rough spot.
It's really tough.
But I blew my load at the right time with the second one because Swinging Around Funtown won't be open in January, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's ideal.
No, so that was a nice load. That's a nice load, Bill. Let's see. What else we got going on here? I mean, I can land the plane. I'm happy to land the plane. I posted this on the fan page. We got anything to note on the fan page?
Oh, I haven't looked. I like that picture of James Carlton on the fan page.
Yeah, that is outstanding. He sent me that last week, and I'm like, oh, I might put this.
No, it's not. It's the picture of the Colonel.
That's the most I've ever seen him smile. I love the Colonel. I really do. I love, you know, because Gabe's been doing shows in St. Louis for 2 decades.
Right.
But I feel like now there's kind of like, and I think, you know, whatever. That's not like this is a big accomplishment, but I kind of feel like we've helped create like people now get what goes on with him, and I mean, I say what goes on with him is like, like he's got some kind of malady, but like how he's just, I mean, he is Straussian with his contempt for nonsense,
Right.
And he couldn't be any less interested in like when Doug brings up the uniforms or when I'm trying to think like when I'm reading Power Mizzou and I can see somebody post something and I'm like, I know Gabe is going to respond shitting on this guy, but as bluntly as you would ever imagine. And it's just the greatest to have. I don't know if you can be in your 20s or maybe even 30s and have that approach, because now I feel like broadcasters, podcasters, and writers have to like write for likes, or they have to be like contrarian.
Build a brand in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
And his brand is fuck off.
Right.
But it's not like fuck off, you're wrong. It's just like, I mean, I think they gave 68 people on the depth chart. We don't know who's on this. He doesn't know who's going to start.
Not here for the bullshit.
Yeah, and it's just, I love it. And and so when we have him on, I know I'm going to get something honest. I know if he thinks the question's fucking terrible, he'll say it. Mm-hmm. But he'll just like shit on it in like a drive-by way. And like, if you guys want to cut me off, I don't care. I got other things I can be doing.
Yeah.
It's just right. I enjoy what I perceive to be, and I know him, so therefore I feel like I can validate and vouch for an honest writer / broadcaster. And maybe I have a greater appreciation for it now because I feel like it's so rare when I see a guy like just like skiing fans and like, here, let me take your cock over here in my right hand. I'll take your cock over here in my left hand. And the Cardinals are great. Yeah. And St. Louis is a great sports town. And it's like,
sitting in the middle seat on the way to Phoenix. Right. Yeah, when he would do live call-ins, all my friends in college loved Gabe. And there was once like after like it was like bad Mizzou time. It was like the last couple of years of Odom. And they would call in, and one of my buddies like called in, and like Gabe's like, "All right, we got this guy on from Memphis," and he was like, "All right, what's a good question that hasn't been asked yet?" And Gabe was like, "I don't know what you want from me, dude. You have to come with a question." And it was so great. I was on there like a little school girl going.
And the thing is, this year you could get peak Colonel. Now it's going to come at the expense of the team's success. Right. That's the cost.
Right.
But if / when something goes awry, and I don't know, I guess Boston College, I suppose, would be theoretically the first opportunity for that.
Or a major injury.
Yeah, I really hope it's not that.
I do. Yeah, same.
Because that just blows everything up. And just, and Gabe will it just will be, he just doesn't suffer fools. And he doesn't give a shit, fine, keep subscribing. I don't really fucking care as long as your whatever it is per month comes through. You can say whatever you want. I mean, it's just so. He's like already at 70, but I think he's 48 or 9. It's just the greatest. And the thing is, this is how he's been throughout his life. It's just now I feel like people in St. Louis, especially, but I guess Kansas City and his Power Mizzou people. Get it. Let's see what we got. Misty and I have actually known each other since we were children. When we found out the truth, we lost our shit. That's from Cucky the Dwarf. So Cucky the Dwarf and Misty Plops know each other going back?
Wow.
How about that? Wow, that's a Swope's Picks waiting to happen.
Where the onion peeled back.
The characters like Jackie, Rudy, Mike Lee, #1 play, baby, wonderful. Now, just for the record, because I've observed the revisionist history that comes with the show, like somebody that people hated while they were on the show becomes deified, canonized. #1 play, baby was chased off the show by the audience. Right. Now I realize it's just one person posting, but
now he lives in drop form. And
he does.
Lovely.
Let's see. Anything else? All right. I mean, I guess I'll land the plane. I'm happy to go a little longer. I mean, I got more emails, but they're just long, and I don't know where they're going to go.
Quickly, did you see that it's likely that Ted Lasso is going to get greenlit for a fourth season?
I wanted to bring that up on TMA today, and I never got to it. Yeah. How do you feel about it? You don't like it?
Touch and go. I love Ted Lasso. So
I know you do.
I'm curious where they go. I don't want to spoil it for people.
So Sudeikis is coming back.
He's in. That was the big piece. Like they'd always, like Apple and Warner's had always wanted there to be an extra season, but Sudeikis, because it's his character, was like the main piece, and he was like, I'll do it. And so they got a bunch of the main cast. I think the only one that I've seen who can't do it is Jamie Tart, Phil Dunster. So I think everyone else is.
Oh, really? Why can't he?
Scheduling conflicts, I assume.
Really?
Yeah. With anything like this, especially with TV shows, it's always scheduling.
Yeah, I just didn't know he was involved in other stuff.
Yeah. And so I hope that it happens, and I hope.
Ted Lasso's great. Shut it, pal. It's from The Veiled Prophet.
What? I love the program. I just hope that they do it right. Like, I hope they don't, like, force. Like, I hope they stay. I don't want to ruin the show. That's why I'm kind of being touch and go here.
Yeah.
But I hope they kind of stay where they were at the end of the season 3 and then go from there. Like, I don't necessarily think they all have to be in the same area for it to work.
I don't remember what happened at the end.
All right, this is a spoiler on Ted Lasso.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a spoiler on Ted Lasso.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so it ends with Ted moves back to Kansas to coach his son's soccer team.
That's right.
And then Roy takes over as the head coach of AFC Richmond. Yeah. Beard stays in England because of his lady friend, and Rebecca and Keeley are going to start a women's team, AFC Richmond women's team as well, because a lot of Premier League teams have both men's and women's teams. So they're going to start their women's club. And that is pretty much where the show left off.
Got it.
Because it wasn't really a finale.
Yeah,
it was kind of like the end of like the original story that Sudeikis had come up with, Sudeikis and Brendan Hunt, Coach Beard. So they have opportunities to do more. You know, it'd just be kind of a new kind of Ted Lasso. I don't even know if they would call it Ted Lasso Season 4. It might be like a new kind of show with all the same characters.
But if Sudeikis is back in Kansas...
I think there's opportunities there.
Yeah.
I think there's opportunities there. I don't know. I'm into it. I'm into the idea.
They come stateside?
Yeah. I think Season 3, like, doesn't have the same... People don't have the same reverence for it, at least for me, because it was running concurrently with Succession, which couldn't be more...
Yeah. That's a nice observation.
Tonally opposite, because one is like the most optimistic show in Ted Lasso, and the other is the most cynical show I've ever seen in Succession, and Succession as a drama is better than Ted Lasso as a comedy. So I think that kind of frames it a little bit. All in all, I think we were lucky to get Succession. That show is fucking awesome.
Oh, I agree with that. I'll rewatch that. Let's see. He is 100. He is so funny, but when you meet him, he is 100% down to earth, normal guy. Makes it more special. I don't know who we're talking about here. This has just been an active YouTube chat.
I think it's Matthew Bowles of Hanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've met Matthew Bowles of Hanks. Let's see. Yeah, good guy. It's okay. It can't be anywhere near as bad as whatever they do with the rest of Yellowstone without Kevin Costner. It's Carlos Spiceweeder.
Yeah, I guess I just got Peacock, so I guess I could start Yellowstone.
No, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I feel like that was another one that we tried to start and didn't.
The best shows I've ever seen have taken me a couple times to get going. Like The Wire was certainly that, Game of Thrones was that, and Succession was that. It took me a couple times. Once I got into it, I was super into it. But sometimes, especially shows like that, like Succession just drops you right in the middle of the shit. Same with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a little time to, like, these are big worlds we're creating here.
Disappointed that they're bringing Ted Lasso back. If insistent on bringing it back, do a spin-off or something instead. That's from Brian Henson, Indianapolis Colts.
I'm kind of with him. I'm kind of hoping that they kind of take a new direction and don't try to force, like, continued storylines that they kind of resolved. Like, they did a lot of, even though it wasn't necessarily a finale, there was a lot of resolution there.
Yeah.
So I think you can build off of that, but not lean on it in a way.
All right, Jackson, I'm going to land the plane, I guess.
Yeah.
I made myself available. The people didn't want it. Hey, I mean, they were active. I got some questions here. I mean, I'll answer the ones on the fan page. Do you think a lack of success last year usually the Cardinals to reevaluate their analytics first approach? I think everybody's going to be analytics. I think they're going to reevaluate their personnel. Although I have to tell you, as dumb as it might sound to people, I still think they're alive. And I don't know if it's just based on 2011, 2006. I don't know. I don't know, because baseball-wise, I have no idea why I think that.
They're right. They're like the pragmatist in you can't explain it, but there is like that little something in the air when it comes to the Cardinals in late August.
And I'm just like, I just expect them to somehow be in it. I don't know.
They're going to do it with the schedule they got coming up just in the next 10 games. Whew, that would be, I mean, if they can, like you said, like 10 games, if they can go over 7, if they get 7 or more wins in 10 games, then I think that
Then the schedule really lightens up.
It opens up.
You frequently compared the Cardinals in ownership/front office to the Steelers. For a different comparison, what company from the last 25 years would you compare them to? I personally feel like BlackBerry is spot on, but looking forward to your idea. That's a good question. That's one that I would need to take some, like, in other words, one that didn't adapt.
Right.
What is a good company that did with that? It's not good.
Kodak. Kodak is always like the example.
Yeah.
Blockbuster. Yeah, it's a major one. No, another. This was actually like a part of a class I took in college, which was like we read a book called the Infinite Game, which is like a really great book just in general. But it's basically saying like there is no winners and losers in business or in like the world of commerce. It's just who can stay in the game the longest. It's not about winning every single day. It's about staying in the game the longest, and it's about adaptation. And it gives examples of companies who never adapted and fell out of the game, and those who did, who remain in the game.
Yeah, I'd be curious. There's something popped up. It might have been my TikTok feed, or it might have been a Wall Street Journal article this week, and I have no idea about the guy with Peloton. I mean, I call it the guy, like he just did this in his basement, but I believe the founder. And I mean, Peloton, because that's super recent history.
Yeah.
That was a 2020, 2021 phenomenon. And it just imploded.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
The business?
The business, yeah.
Of Peloton imploded?
Yes. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I
thought it would have exploded.
And the CEO was like, I built this huge, brand new house, and I had to sell it. And I'm basically left with like nothing. I mean, and he was kind of telling the story of how it, I believe, and I could be butchering this. I do want to read about it because it was just like a TikTok algorithm thing. But because the demand got so high, I think they increased, production and inventory, and then it fell off, and then they were just left with this, and then the whole thing was out of whack.
Sure.
It's so that's a good recent one. If anything, I maybe getting caught up and going, okay, this is gonna last forever, and more recognizing the circumstances that led to the boom.
Yeah.
Let's see, LG and their cell phone market, they passed up by Samsung and Google, or they were passed up by Samsung and Google. Peloton probably got a major boost from the pandemic, I'd imagine.
Totally.
Absolutely, that's what it was. I mean, that's where it all came from.
I would have thought, though, like gyms, hotels, apartment buildings would have been like, oh, let me buy a couple Pelotons for our establishment. Like if you're at a luxury apartment complex, like in your workout room, you have 4 Peloton machines.
Yeah.
Or at this nicer gym, you have 25 Peloton machines that you use for a class.
I don't know. I mean, I got one, and I was fairly religious with it for a time. I thought I would enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
I really didn't enjoy it.
Isn't it like someone like screaming at you while you're doing it?
It depends on what you can you can have that, certainly. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really.
Seems like boring form of cardio.
I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I.
Most forms of cardio are pretty boring.
Yeah, and I just, once you become aware how important lifting is, and I'm not lifting, I don't want to fuck up my shoulders. All I want to do is play golf. And that's like, oh, that sucks. That's kind of over in my life,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably, I don't know if I'd say it's healthy. I guess I would need to pivot to lifting lighter weights and higher reps. But even doing that one time, just a handful of years ago, my wife was doing Orange Theory, which was super light workout from my standpoint, down in Jupiter. I'm like, all right, I'll get back into it. And just like, I think curling, just a light weight. I'm like, oh, I can feel it on my fucking shoulder, which I never feel.
Yeah. What about yoga? I feel like that would be great.
The yoga, but then there are certain things that I mean, it's so embarrassing because my wife can, and I'm standing behind her because I don't want her standing behind me and seeing that mess. And I'm seeing, and I'm like, okay, I can barely,
Oh, I'm one of the least flexible people on the planet.
But that would probably be the move. But even then, with the shoulder, it's like I don't want to. Everything's about protecting this fucking shoulder.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it'll be 5. It's probably about 5 years to the day since I fucked it up. And how much I was lifting, I'm very lucky I didn't get injured more with either squats or deadlifts or military press. It was actually bench press. I mean, squats and deadlifts in particular.
Then you're talking back injuries, and that can
holy shit.
fester
So in a way,
forever.
and then when I would run and do high intensity interval training, and I would ramp that thing up to 9. I mean, if there's one false move, I'm like shooting like a fucking rocket off of the treadmill.
Right.
Like, what am I doing?
Oh, yeah, that can be dangerous, too.
I'm sure there are people in the gym going, what's the deal with like the guy who's 42? What's going on over there?
Sprinting like a little madman.
I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And for what? I don't even know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah, when you take your earbuds off at the gym, you don't notice when you have them in how loud everything is around you.
Yeah.
But when someone's like sprinting on it, it's like It's like someone like a horse clacking up and down the street at full speed. It can get intense.
Oh my God! What, Don PP's mad I haven't answered his question.
I don't get where the hell is it?
What's the question? I'll answer it.
He's sent in like 100 messages on here.
Don PP, I'll answer whatever the hell you want to answer. I'm sitting here trying to give the people more of what they want.
Yeah.
How long have we been going? Hour and 20?
Yeah.
Boy, it's hotter. I don't know if you can tell. It is hotter than fuck in our studio, and I have no idea why.
It's a total 50-50.
You never know.
It's going to be hotter if it's going to be cold. I prefer cold, but hot's okay.
Yeah, I don't know on that. Let's see. Don PP asked his question.
No. I feel like with I saw the guys have LG in their cell phone market. It's just a brief random aside, but I feel like everyone's kind of fighting for second place with Apple. You know, like nobody I know in my age has anything but an iPhone. Like it'd be shocking to send a green text.
Yeah, like Iggy's the only person I know who doesn't have an iPhone.
Yeah, yep. Iggy and Mike Ryder, the only two.
Oh, is that right, Midnight Rider?
Yeah. Well, he's like the guy who's like, well, don't you know that the Samsung phone is better? You know, like all this stuff. I'm like, bro.
I just want everything in one ecosystem.
Right.
Dan Ulrich says, thanks for reading my email, Tim. Another hypothetical. If you guys would have continued talking politics, do you think the show would still be going on? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that would have stopped it.
Yeah, but that was, and it wasn't tension amongst the show members that day, January 7th, 2021. I blame myself for that because, you know, I mean, there are plenty of times, and Jackson knows this, we talk about it on this show probably more than anywhere, where I get blamed for shit that I have nothing to do with. But whatever, I just kind of accept that that's the deal. But on that one, I do deserve the blame because what my miscalculation was on the morning of January 7th was the level of anger from the audience and the absolute 100% right move had I had a gauge on that. So this isn't like if a king would have come off, I would have caught the gut shot straight. It's not that. That's luck. This was a miss on a skill. And at that point, doing the show for whatever that was, 17 years, I should have known. I didn't have a gauge on the anger of people the morning of January 7th. And I came in with this hopeful, like, okay, it happened. Because I had been talking about, maybe even with you, but I've been talking about there's going to be...
Yeah, the day before. On QFTA.
Well, not that, because I didn't see that. I didn't see that level coming. Right. But there's going to be a low point. And I've been saying that I feel like throughout 2020 and perhaps even 2019. And it's going to take the low point to bring everybody together. And that night of January 6th, it actually happened. Now, many of the people who were condemning it have now...
changed their tune a little bit.
That's accurate. And so I'm like, this sucks, but it's going to be the low point. And we'll talk about that. And first off, I was doing the show from Jupiter, so I'm not in the building, which really was never a problem. But in that case, I think it played a role in it. And then because I wasn't in there, and I just was not prepared for the level of it. And then you got Rockio, and God bless Rockio, but it's not a spot for that kind of. It's like the morning after Jack Buck died. I was sitting in the point chair. We used to rotate who ran point when it was me, Jay Randolph Jr., and Rich Gould on KFNS in 2002. And I was maybe in my second week there when that happened. And I was sitting in there because Rich didn't want to do it. That was the reason. And Jay didn't want to do it. That was the other reason. And Rich walks in and goes, "Get up, Junior. I'm handling it today." I was like, "You're right." And I couldn't agree more. And I'll mosey on the other side. That's the right move. In that spot, that needed to be, and that's on me. I mean, that's just, but the core issue was I did not recognize the intensity of the anger that morning. And I just remember going to dinner with my wife that night and going, God, I'm not sure I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, that day sucked.
That day sucked. I think we texted as a group after that show.
Like an hour and a half after.
Was it after that show or was it after okay.
It was the 7th. Yeah,
okay, then I'm surprised I said to my wife that night. Went to a place called Leftovers in Jupiter, by the way. Major recommendation. I'm sure plenty of you know about it. And I remember sitting outside going, I don't know if I want to do this. And I don't think because it wasn't about I don't even know who was on the show at the time. Me and you and Doug and Rockio. Was anybody else?
Iggy. Yeah, Iggy.
And Iggy? Okay. Yeah. But I remember Rockio talking a lot. And it wasn't about like being mad. And I guess the person people would assume I'd be mad at is Doug. I don't know if I've ever been mad at Doug since we started doing this show for real. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess if the audience can turn on us this quickly, like you would think we'd have some goodwill built up. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really think it through it. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this because clearly there's a lot of anger, and I don't know. I just don't want to.
Yeah. And
we can't talk about it. But I've always operated. I had always operated with the show that we're going to talk about whatever, because for as odd as some of the management operations have been, nobody's ever said do not talk about that. No management. I don't recall anything like that. I think people think that goes on, and maybe it does at other places. We just haven't had it, and that's not to say it won't happen, but it just hasn't happened. That was our own decision, and that was just a brutal fucking show.
Yeah.
But I think the show, I think if I told this little story, I'd be talking out of school because it's not our show. But I mean, it was a no-brainer thing. I don't think I realized how much better it made it. And if anything, I wish we probably would have done it sooner, honestly, if anything.
Right.
Like, it got goofy during 2016. And, I enjoy talking about it. The other thing is, I really, probably up until watching the first, well, I guess the only Biden-Trump debate, I had really withdrawn from watching or reading about it. And from January 6th to I guess 2 months ago or so, and so I would have been, not that this would stop people anyway, but like really ill-informed on the topics. So yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, and I guess it seems to me like a miss. I guess this is benefit of hindsight to have not just gone, yeah, we're just not going to talk politics. But when we started the show, as crazy as it sounds, because I'm sure people in 2004 are like, wow, this is a heated election, and Bush versus Kerry is probably forgettable to many people.
Yeah.
But at the time, because of Iraq, in March of 2003, that was a heated election, and it looks like nothing, in comparison to fucking, I guess Romney Obama was pretty tepid, I guess, for the most part. But I mean, shit, the last 16, 20, and what I would imagine, whatever the hell happens between now and, By the way, if you're looking for a long shot play, just if you just want to throw I'm not saying, hey, this is going to happen, just a little long shot play. If you can get I always enjoy tracking the presidential odds. It's been pretty even here over the last,
I would have to imagine.
Yeah, over the last couple of weeks. Let me see what I can get. Just as a long shot play. Where do you think I'm going with this, Jackson?
I have no idea. In terms
really?
of long shot play, it seems like there's only two options.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long shot play. I wouldn't mind throwing $100 on Nikki Haley at plus 20,000.
I hear you. I just don't see a world in which anyone else runs on the Republican side.
Well, what if the candidate?
Well,
yeah, that's not. But yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it then go to Jay Dizzle?
I'm not necessarily sure about that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess theoretically.
Yeah, that's where I would think it would go, but.
I would think similar to the Democrats figuring out a way to get Biden out, I think the Republicans would figure a way to finagle on that one.
Yeah, I would think if they were in charge of it, yes, but I'm not positive. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and this is yeah. I mean, it's Donald Trump minus 110, Kamala Harris minus 110, and then who do you think is third?
Well, I guess RFK didn't technically drop out of the race, so I'll go RFK Jr.
No, I'm sorry. So this is interesting. I'll go ahead and
because
J.D. Vance.
Okay,
and he's at plus 10,000.
Right, that would make sense.
Nikki Haley's plus 20,000. So I see my friends at Bovada are thinking similarly.
Yeah, because when I think of the situation that would take place in which someone else would take over for the Republican side, I would see J.D. Vance much more likely than Nikki Haley. But if I was in charge of the GOP, I would probably be like, all right, well, let's see if we can get even fresher blood in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. this is. I mean, yeah, I guess I could throw 100 on Vance and 100 on Haley, and it'd be both missions would be accomplished.
Yeah.
Just on the thought process.
Bases covered.
Yeah, Donald Trump had like a late night Truth Social. I know you're on there.
Yeah. No,
post, and now he says he might not do the debate because he saw some story on ABC.
Wow.
And it was like, this guy, he is having a full-on situation, and if he's like, I'm not going to fucking win this thing, I'm going to bail, then... And by the way, I'm not sure he's not going to win this thing, but if it got to a point where he's like, I'm not going to win this thing, I'm going to bail, that's where I would...
Yeah, and I see your comment. It seems like he's got a deep playbook, and...
well, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not saying it's a very complex playbook, but I think he's got a couple Hail Marys in there before he, takes the knee, essentially.
Let's see. Am I missing anything here? Anything? Started watching House of Cards. Oh, how about this? This does get me going. We started watching House of Cards after you talked about it in the context of this election a while ago. It's absolutely addicting and alarming how feasible most of it seems. Yeah. I hate that like two guys, you and James Carlton, who I think like I would rather live life through the lens you in particular. That's not a shot at James, but you're always just like you'll still be this way when you're 47.
Hope so.
Oh, you will. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
It's a great thing, but it also, I guess, leaves you vulnerable to.
I can be naive.
Like plays that I see are so obvious.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, well, why don't you bet it if it's so obvious? And I'm like, I tried to. Right as I went to, they changed the odds because they saw the same thing that I saw. And I don't remember what the hell it was. Oh, I think it was that guy in Adam Schiff, maybe. Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi both said something the same day, and I'm like, oh, they're back. They waited, they sat on it after Trump's assassination attempt, and they're back. And once those two go, I'm going, okay, they're going. And this guy, we can talk about how patriotic it was. He didn't have a fucking choice. And I'm not shitting on him. I'm just saying this wasn't like I reflected. This was, hey. And I'm telling you, and I know it'll never be proven unless somebody speaks out about it years later, that they fucked him somehow on that debate. There's just not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
He was either hopped up on something for the State of the Union or they fucked him on something on the debate because the two guys were two different guys.
Yeah.
And again, as I always go back to the debate in June, very early. and then they coincidentally don't announce Kamala Harris until after, or that he's stepping down until the Sunday after the Republican convention. I mean, this is just... It strikes me as so fucking obvious, and I'm be clear, I'm not necessarily angry about it. It's just like, it's so obvious, and so then along those lines, I wonder if there are people with money on the other side who go, holy shit. If it gets to a point where they're going, okay, we're going to get our asses kicked. Right. But I don't know. That one is not what I'm saying. Like where the Biden one, I'm betting even money. This is a hey, if you can get plus 20,000, fire at it.
Right.
So that's where I'm coming from on it. Let's see. All right, Jackson, that's enough. I've said it all.
You've said it all.
I've said it all. You're always welcome to send questions, comments, erotic stories in T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Anything is welcome. Anything and everything. Hate mail bounty out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not going above 200 though. No. I mean, if you're not going to send it for 200, you're just not going to send it.
Yeah.
The value of the anonymity is priceless, I gather. But anything is welcome, anytime. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Thank you to Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Congratulations to him for his engagement. I really am.
So excited.
There's a guy. That's a guy.
World class.
Yeah.
The definition of world class.
James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. There's a guy. Whew. It's the same thing with Seth Goldcamp and Jamie Burkhardt and Peter Mungenast. We're just very fortunate to have quality people who are active and loyal with this radio program and podcast and all the nonsense that it is that we do. Thank you to the audience, of course, for being loyal to it. And for real, man, I'm happy to talk about anything, anytime. This thing might turn into something where we're sitting in a set and we're taking questions. I'd love to do that.
That'd be great.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the direction we go with everything. Who knows? Anyway, for Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast.